agriculture absorbing some of our youth, it will be a very big tax for the economy to do so. So we will be, if I'm approved in this by this committee, I will endeavor to make sure that the youth are taken care of, especially by when we are implementing all the interventions we have identified under the bottom-up transition. The better. Be it in leather, be it in dairy, be it in the crops like rice and everything, the value chains, all those value chains, we will get the nodes where the youth have to come in to create jobs for them and to make sure that they are meaningful jobs where they can be engaged right from the grassroots all the way. So the value chains approach is the way to go, and I will promote it and make it very clear that we are even monitoring how the youth are getting there, whether the youth are getting engaged. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, let me take my Sula first.
Oh, okay.
I'll skip to you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Mary.
Thank you, Speaker. Dr. Karanja, listening to you and the comments that most of my colleagues have raised about agriculture being devolved, and even you saying that the extension services at the counties are dead, it is because the Ministry of Agriculture at the national level, you're also involving yourself in devolved matters than doing your work, which should mostly be policy, and collaborating with the counties to see that those policies are implemented and those extension services are working. Because I do not understand why the county governments are providing seeds, they are doing, they are providing all that to the farmers, but fertilizer, you keep it at Kilimo. Is it a cash cow for the minister, for the PS, for the cartels there? Why are you leaving fertilizer at the national level instead of dealing with matters policy, which is your main core mandate? And when you talk about functions being devolved, resources should then follow those functions so that then the county governments are able to work and not the money remaining here in the capital in Nairobi. The second issue is the issue of livestock farming. We talk about coffee sector reforms, tea sector reforms, even Paresram and Cotton have a board. Livestock we do not have in this country. People who wake up every morning thinking and implementing issues to do with livestock. Botswana is one of the best countries in livestock farming, implemented by Kenyans. They're the ones who went to do livestock issues in Botswana. So I want to know what you're going to do to see to it that livestock farming is taken seriously. Instead of taxing Kenyans, make money through livestock farming. Lastly, on the Livestock Bill 2024, what will you do as a Cabinet Secretary to communicate properly what it is all about? Because we are already seeing a lot of things flying right, left, and center. What strategies will you put in place to ensure you communicate to the public efficiently on the Livestock Bill 2024 and taking their views in? Thank you.
Just nominate.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Raisuda. The issue about, yes, interfering with the mandate of the national government and the intergovernmental, I would just like to say that if I'm nominated, approved by this committee, I'm a firm believer in devolution. As I said earlier, if you want sustainable development of agriculture, the counties have to take their role seriously, and they have to work. They have to work. There is no other way. I'm a development economist, and I know that if you don't have structure, institutional framework to support you to do a sustainable development, it will never work. So the counties have to take their mandate. They have to take their roles, give those services. The national government have to take its role of the ministry where I'm going, if I am approved, the role of policy, the role of regulatory, and also research. Those are the mandates which are to the national government. But the counties have to take that role. And I will do whatever will be in my power to make sure that those delineation and that it becomes very clear. In terms of even fertilizer, That's why I said eventually, gradually, the way to go is to make sure that you decentralize. The procurement should not be done centrally. It should be done with agro dealers. Those are business people who can be able to do procurement, and they do it as part of their business. The government can come in and subsidize and give the vouchers. So I am, as I indicated, and I would like to repeat again, I am a firm believer in that issue about sustainable development through counties. Livestock. Yes, livestock is a very critical area, one of the critical areas, because if I'm approved, I'll have two state departments, agriculture and livestock. And livestock has a great potential in terms of being able to the livelihoods, especially in rural areas. And Honorable Member Isuda is to say that I'm lucky that when I'm coming in, if I come in, there is a livestock bill which has been published, and a livestock policy which has been published. So the livestock bill is trying to cure the lacuna which was there, in that we do not have agencies which are promoting livestock matters in the country. So it will create, for instance, try to regulate what is happening in breeding, animal feeds, which members know that there are a lot of issues with animal feeds, quality and others. Create a livestock marketing board, which will be promoting livestock. A research organization dedicated to livestock, although it is between CARO. And institutes. I was surprised to learn that some of the institutes in livestock, like Haiti, which we know, don't have legal status. They are just there created by. So the livestock bill is trying to do that. And there are issues which are coming through, I know, misinformation, which you will be dealing with, so that when it comes for the necessary hearings and the public hearing, those issues are dealt with. So I think I will give it a lot of priority, the livestock bill, and so that by the time, maybe by next year, we will have some of these institutions in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. My question to the nominee. The country has suffered recurrent drought, flooding, occasioned by climate change. In the process, we've lost a lot of livestock through starvation, millions of livestock. We've also lost crops through flooding. Some are washed away. Even the crops that manage to survive do not perform well because of too much water. My question is, what mitigation measures can you put in place to reduce the loss of livestock during future droughts? What compensation measures or strategies would you be able to put in place? Because we know that we have livestock insurance, at least areas, livestock farmers can be compensated. What about crops, farmers that lose crops? What are your thoughts? Secondly, in the agricultural sector, we have so many youths who are trained, degrees in agriculture, even PhD in agriculture, extension officer, trained but jobless. So many of them. I don't know if you're aware of that. And we need to be deliberate in employment creation. If you are successful and you become the Minister of Agriculture, what deliberate measures are you going to put in place to ensure that you deliberately placing resources in programs that will create opportunities for these young people? Thank you.
Another one, Daud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. To the nominee, he has mentioned he has been in the coffee sector in the task force. What I would want to put to him is the coffee sector is in turmoil. Prices and theft at the coffee factories are rampant. We need to probably develop new varieties and value addition for coffee. What would be your position on that? Secondly, the Kenya Kwanza government, I believe, they talked about guaranteed minimum returns. And I've seen you have worked with the Kilimo Biashara as well. What would be your take on guaranteed minimum returns for all our products? Lastly, there is a bill,
and of course, the issue about livestock and the climate change. Climate change is a definite threat to agriculture and many other sectors, including energy and others. And it has to be dealt with. Measures have to be taken. And in particular, when you go to livestock, especially where it is practiced in the arid and semi-arid areas, that is where climate change is becoming a big issue due to the persistent droughts. And we have to invest in mitigation and adaptation measures in those areas. For instance, if you go to the northeast counties, Isiolo, Wajir, and others, you realize that over time the pastoralists have started to realize that pasture conservation is one of the areas which they can invest in. They used to graze and then go. But through interventions, through various programs, you can now see hay being sold in those areas. So some of these mitigation measures are going to be there, especially to change their lifestyle, so that they adopt measures like pasture conservation. And if approved, I'm going to promote programs which you do the adaptation and especially for livestock sector. For crops, it's also the same. We need measures which varieties which are resistant or drought tolerant, varieties which are higher temperatures, can withstand higher temperatures. So that, as the docket of research is within my mandate, if approved, I will also emphasize on that. We have also to take, for instance, the Kenya Kwanza agenda of planting trees. That is one area where we need to emphasize, because trees, agroforestry and others, is one of the measures which we can be able to mitigate the effects of the climate change. Then in agriculture, I'll also be working closely, if I'm approved, with my counterparts in irrigation. Our agriculture is rain-fed. It is prone to the vagaries of the weather. So we need to invest where we can, with resources allowing. We need to invest in irrigation so that we expand the area of the irrigation. Small-scale irrigation programs, which can be able to support farmers so that they are not caught by this the issue about climate change. Then I think insurance at the final end of the day, because this is a risk, we need to emphasize both crop and livestock insurance so that farmers are able to be compensated whenever there is an occurrence of that calamity which occurs. Issue about the youth. I indicated earlier that yes, I'm quite aware of this particular challenge of jobless youth in the country, in the rural areas and everywhere else. And if I'm approved, my undertaking is that in whatever we are doing in all the value chains, the issue about the youth, women, PWDs, people with living with disabilities, will be taken care of. Not just taken care of, but